A cloud migration strategy is a plan which organization develops to move its systems and applications from on-premises architecture to the cloud. Let's hear the intro.
Welcome to the OTech Talks podcast, where it's all about working on technologies. You will hear the latest tech information, and your host, Kashif Manzoor, brings together product overviews, how-tos, best practices, tips and tricks, and troubleshooting techniques.
Hear the intro. Welcome to the OTech Talk podcast. Your Kashif Manzoor, your host Kashif Manzoor is with you. Today's session number is 94 and we are discussing and we will basically continue from our previous discussion of migration strategies, which we have discussed in the previous session. And today what I thought is to go to the basics, very fundamentals, that how do you develop a cloud migration strategy. And this is very important for any organization and even for an individual as me or you, that we need to understand that, okay, what is our cloud migration strategy, the processes, the plan, and the costs, what are the factors involved. Now, definitely, cloud migration strategy is a plan which any organization develops to move its systems and applications from on-premises architecture to the cloud. And sorry, I forgot it to let you know that if you're new to the show, Open Tech Talks is your weekly sandbox for technology insights, experimentation, and inspiration with the primary objective of learning and sharing. And if you're existing or your audience, thank you so much. And I'm very humble and honored that you keep coming back and listening this podcast. This podcast has crossed 40,000 plus downloads till to date. And I'm very happy with your feedback and all the details, all the sharing comments with the community fellows. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So now coming back to our today's topic, not all applications and systems benefit from running on cloud, right? That's why you need to endorse the most efficient way to work on it and migrate applications. And that leads us to a systematic, a documented strategy is very vital for any business. Now I understand while working on a cloud strategy, there need to be aligned to the overall digital or strategy or a digital business transformation, right? Digital transformation. And what are the drivers of business transformation? And even on this one, if you're new to that one, we have covered so many sessions on the fundamentals and how business, you can work on drafting and crafting your digital transformation, adoption, digital transformation strategy. But eventually, just on a high level, this needs to be for any organization, right? Transformation means it's becoming more responsive to customer needs, right? Or what they need. Or the other could be that you want to, outplace your competition, right? Maybe, and there are some other reasons of compliance, maybe a global expansion, or maybe you need to focus on innovation, right? Or even sometime its main driver is a cost savings and replacing capex with opex. And even sometime it goes to you want to reduce the risk of failure and higher revenue, better return on investment, or a rationalization, consolidation, modernization, employee productivity or collaboration. There are so many factors, and if you want to go in more detail, I would suggest you to go and listen our earlier podcast, almost 40 podcasts we have done on the digital transformation. Now, based on your business drivers, then definitely you need to have your cloud strategy. That's because your business drivers will have a major impact on your cloud strategy and even overall architecture and the solution design which you're planning. And if you if you listen our previous podcast where we spoke on different application strategies or the methods, and we're going to cover in a detail in this session also. Now, eventually, these strategies, even cloud adoption strategy, it belongs to or depend on the three factors which are very famous from a digital transformation point of view. The people, all the stakeholders, employees, leaders, users, customers, right, and the processes which cloud works very well, the way you're working on on-premise applications and technology. And what are the new technologies and the existing technology you're using? So all these factors, people, process, technology on that one. But eventually, the key question will come back to you asking that, okay, how you will be developing your cloud migration strategy. That need to go through, I think, primarily 4 areas. One is processes. What the process you're going to make or you're going to start for the cloud migration strategy. This process, like you're planning your migration, choosing your cloud environment, migrating your apps, data and systems, which one to choose, validating post-migration. So that's fall under the migration process. Strategies, definitely, what type of cloud migration strategies you're going to use. And we're going to discuss, there are common 6 R's or 7 R's, like rehosting, refactoring, and all those things. And then what are the benefits of migrating to the cloud, right? Are you getting decrease in the hosting cost or your data center, real estate, and all those? Are you getting some agility or the modernizing the applications and the systems? Are you maybe decreasing the footprint or the portfolio? Or maybe you're building a disaster recovery, or maybe you're enhancing the security. So all these are the benefits of supporting your business case, but that need to link to the business case, right? From there, that's where the digital transformation comes into play. And then what are the challenges of cloud migration? Primarily comes into from a challenging point of view, and what are the other organizations are doing it. So from a data loss point of view, downtime, your team, resources management, interoperability point of view. These are different challenges this comes. I'm just highlighting today because our topic is very wide, and we will cover in a number of sessions. So that's where we stand on the cloud. You need to develop a cloud migration strategy. Now, while developing cloud migration strategy, your first step is in creating a migration strategy for collecting applications portfolio, extracting all the configurations, all the data and applications on that one. Okay, and which related to the point where how you're going to develop it, right? Because there are a number of factors into it. Now, coming back to the point of where, what the benefits of migrate to cloud, common challenges, or of, cloud migration processes, or what are the steps available. But today our topic is what are the common cloud migration or the cloud migration strategies which are available, and how you are going to focus on it to develop it. That's what I thought to focus today, because we in the previous sessions we have already covered that, okay, if you want to migrate to the cloud, that okay, what are the cloud migration, workload migration to the cloud, how to get start, then benefits of cloud migration strategies. So those are already covered. So today's our topic is on developing the migration strategies. Right, that's where we need to work on it. So let's go dive into the topic in a more detailed way, one step down. Now, the first step is in creating a migration strategy is collecting your application systems data, because that data must be evaluated against the common migration strategies. Now, I will take you to historic information on common migration strategies. There are famous, some are calling these are the 7 R's for moving applications to the cloud. And some are talking about 5 R's. Gartner named it 5 R's. When we talk about from a Gartner point of view, when these R's are mean, replace, rehost, refactor, redesign, and remain or retire. So these are the common, from a Gartner point of view, these were the common strategies, or the alternatives they named it alternatives from a cloud strategy point of view. Rehost, refactor, revise, rebuild, replace. So these were the common alternatives to work on your strategies for migrating to the cloud. Now, different vendors have come up with their different approaches, and I thought to share with you all the common vendors which they have built it. All right. So let's go through what Gartner is calling as replace. Similarly, Microsoft is calling replace, AWS repurchase, and Oracle is also calling the replace. And I will go in a more detail, I think, from one by one. Let's first compare it, and then we will talk about what does it mean, replace or repurchase. Similarly, Gartner is calling rehost, Oracle is calling rehost, almost all the vendors, AWS, Microsoft, rehost. Then Gartner is refactor. Some vendors is again calling refactor, replatform. They're naming it replatform or refactor. Then rebuild, or it's a refactor or re-architect or rebuild. It's all the concept is the same. All right. Then another one. That's how it's being called, rebuild, refactor. So that's how they are named it. Some have added it to re-architect, and retain or revisit or retire. And for example, Oracle has put together retire, revisit, re-optimize together. And some are making it different. So let's go in a one level down, that what does these mean. So when we call retire or revisit or re-optimize, these are the 6 or 7, most common strategies. And first we will define these one, and then we will go in a more, one way of doing how to do it. So the 5 R's of rationalization or refactoring, right? So that's how they are planned it. So retire, revisit, or re-optimize, which Oracle put together in a one category. So these 3 strategies are bundled into one category, because for the context of cloud projects, they involve the application not moving to cloud, right? At least initially. That's the way retire, revisit, or re-optimize. You can retire any on-premise applications that are no longer being used or no longer required. For applications that you don't want to work on migrating initially, you can revisit them later, right? And you can re-optimize applications with software updates and hardware refreshes on-premise. So that's why these are called as. So for 5 hours of refactoring or cloud strategy. So the most common one is a rehost, which is known as lift and shift migration. What it does, it rehost basically current asset or current application to your chosen cloud provider. It could be Oracle, Microsoft, Google, AWS, or even Alibaba or any other cloud provider. And rehost is with minimal changes to overall architecture. And the common drivers might include reducing capital expense, freeing up data center space, achieving rapid return on investment in the cloud. Some quantitative analysis factors are virtual VM sizes, CPU, memory, storage, dependencies, network traffic, compatibility of application or systems. Some qualitative analysis factor which you need to do is tolerance for change, business priorities, critical business events, and process dependencies. So that falls under the rehost, which is a lift and shift migration process. Now the refactor, which is commonly as a platform as a service, that you what you go do, you reduce the operational costs that are associated with many applications. And then what you do is you slightly refactor on applications to fit a PaaS platform as a services based model. And refactor, sometimes it's also referred as an application development process of refactoring code to enable an application to deliver on new business opportunities. So that's how the refactor comes into play. And this refactor, or you can say, or a replatform, it's like involving re-architecting your application with infrastructure and platform level cloud services. The core architecture remains the same. If you use a 3-tier architecture pattern on premise, you use a 3-tier architecture in the cloud. But now you start leveraging, managed services in the cloud. For example, instead of installing and managing your own database, you can use Oracle Autonomous Database Processing or any other, database cloud service. So similarly, there are a number of other utilities and the tools available in the cloud which you start using it. So that's how you use the refactor or replatform. Common drivers could be faster and shorter updates, code portability, greater cloud efficiency, resources, speed, cost, managed operations. Some quantitative analysis factors are application size, for example, CPU, memory, storage you need to take care of, dependencies, network traffic which is required, user traffic, page views, time on page, load time, development platform is what language, data platform, middle tier services, and what type of database you're having, CPU, memory, storage, and version. Qualitative analysis factors are continued business investments, busting options or timelines, business process dependencies. So that's where it comes to the number of factors on the refactor area. Then definitely the third one is on the re-architecting. That's, rebuilding, you can say it, or re-architecting. In the re-architecting, definitely some old application aren't compatible with the cloud providers because of the architectural decisions that were made when the application was built. In such scenarios, the application might need to be re-architected before transformation, right? So applications that are cloud compatible but not cloud native might create cost efficiencies and operational efficiencies by re-architecting the solutions into cloud native application. So it's you can say re-architecting or rebuild, it's like enabling you to modernize and leverage the latest available technologies. You want to replace your monolithic legacy application with a more modern architecture pattern like microservices or serverless, right? Or rebuilding is the strategy that you maybe need to leverage to the cloud native technologies that are the fundamentals now, for like containers, microservices, serverless functions, development pipeline, and infrastructure as a code, like Terraform. So all these are some of the common benefits you will be using it when you will be using these new technologies. So these, if you're thinking about these areas, then definitely you need to work on a more detailed level. That okay, what are the common drivers on that one? Application scale and agility, easier adoption of new cloud capabilities, mix of technology stacks, quantitative analysis factors. What is application asset size, CPU, memory, storage, dependencies, same traffic, network traffic, user traffic like page views, time on pages, load time, development platform, language, data platform, middle tier services, and similarly database, CPU, memory, storage, version. Qualitative analysis factors are growing business investments, operational costs, potential feedback loops, and DevOps investments. So that's where it comes to on the re-architecting the solution on that one. Definitely, then replace is another category where solutions are typically implemented by using the best technology and approaches available at that time, right? So sometimes software as a service application can provide all the necessary functionality for the hosted application. In such scenarios, the workload or the application can be scheduled for future replacement. You can think about it to replace with the SaaS application. That's where it gets you to get the benefit of software as a services application, right? So now replacing comes with you have a on-premise self-managed application with the SaaS or a cloud-managed cloud services. And rather than you focus on migrating your legacy application, you replace with the SaaS, software as a service application. Now, this strategy is typically the best option for minimizing your IT management efforts and costs. And you must consider your existing integrations and determine if the replacement offering provides the customization and features that you need. Each vendor has their own proven and innovative SaaS applications that are using the modern technologies, the latest technologies, so you can use that one. So that's also a very famous and common example of replacing with the SaaS application. Now, definitely these common drivers are standardizing around industry best practices. If you're going with a SaaS application, accelerating adoption of business process driven approaches, reallocating development investment into applications that create competitive advantages. Quantitative analysis factors are same: general operating cost reductions, VM size, memory storage, dependencies, network, what are the assets to be retired, database. But when you will refactor replace with the SaaS applications, then you need to keep in mind qualitative analysis factors: cost benefit analysis of the current architecture versus a SaaS solution, business process maps, data schemas, custom or automated processes. So some of these are the factors for deciding when you will be moving, re-architecting, rebuilding, replacing, or refactoring, or rehosting the applications. So these are some of the common strategies for your cloud migration point of view, which you need to keep in mind. Now, what are the common processes are being followed? From a common application strategies. So let's take an example of, and whatever I'm talking about, I will add it into the show notes, so you will have all the information and the reference data from all the common vendors like Gartner, Oracle, AWS, or Microsoft. And all the information will be in the show notes. Now, the key factor is determining your migration path, right? So, and that's depend on the discovery of and the assessment of your application. And you need to listen to session number 93 podcast, where we talk about the importance of discovery and assessment of your application. Now, take an example. Okay, you have done the assessment, prioritize the application based on your business decision. Now, determining the migration plan. For example, if you're going with a rehosting, which is lift and shift, then the next process comes, okay, what are the tools available? Is it manual install, manual configuration, manual deployment, or is it automated? Use migration tools from the vendors. For example, if you're migrating e-business suite or JD or these type of applications from Oracle, then you got a number of automated tools from the product, so that you can use for the lift and shift scenarios. So now this is in the case of rehosting. Now, if you're doing a replatforming, which is basically, lift and reshape, which is a replatforming, right? So then you need to determine the new platform. You need to modify in underlying infrastructure. Then you need to again go back to use migration tools and then move on validation, transition, and to production. So that's will follow from our replatforming. Now, definitely replace or repurchasing, or if you're going that one, then definitely you need to, and which is we discussed in our, when we say replace mean the SaaS application, right? So in this case, definitely you need to purchase the SaaS application, right? The licensing of the SaaS application. You need to map the functionality, and then you need to just set up, or because SaaS is already deployed from the cloud vendor, and then you will configure it based on your own premise or the standard business best practices, and then you move on to validate and transition and production. And if you are thinking about refactoring, rewriting or your applications, then definitely you need to, or re-architecting or rebuilding, you need to redesign application infrastructure architecture, application code development, full like a software development life cycle, or even microservices, or whatever the strategy you're following up. Then you need to think about integration, how you're going to do it, and then you will move on to validation, transition, and production point of view. Now, there are other two, retaining or not moving applications, or retiring. Those will be also documented on that one. So that's where it comes to the point that these are the common migration strategies which you will be using, or anyone will be using for the cloud migration. That how do you develop a cloud migration strategy, or what is cloud migration strategy from a process, plans, and cost point of view. Now, once you will finalize these 6 hours or 7 hours or 5 hours, whatever you name it, the most common one, based on these one, retire, rehost, or replatform, replace, or rebuild, then based on these strategies, along with the assessment, discovery of your cloud on your on-premise applications environment, you will be able to define your cloud migration strategy. So we will conclude our session today with the key message of developing the right strategy. Before embarking on any journey, right, even in our personal lives, or even journey to the cloud, you need to clearly establish what you want to accomplish. It starts with capturing baseline metrics of your IT infrastructure to map workloads to your applications, and having a baseline understanding of where you are and where you will establish your cloud migration key KPIs, or even goals. That's how you need to develop your strategy. This strategy is very important. And then you will continue identifying the right applications, securing the cloud provider, and then adopting end-to-end approach or executing your cloud migration, because those are the second and the third or the fourth steps. But first step is to plan and craft your strategy. Now it's over to you. Share your feedback and comments that what and how you are preparing your cloud migration strategy. What are the factors you're taking care of it? What are the steps you're following up? Are you following? And there are so many resources, are available from a preparation point of view. Cloud migration planning, or business case, or data migration, or all the areas. Thank you so much, and it's always a pleasure to have you on the podcast. And have a wonderful and lovely day ahead.
Thanks for listening to the OTech Talks podcast, and be part of Tech Talks at otechtalks.tv. It's a turf to share ideas, insights, and innovations.